my fellow gamers? In today's video, we got our in-depth guide for the brand new content we got in Odin Valhalla Rising, and that is the Guild Dungeon. The Guild Dungeon is a ton of fun. You're going to be teaming up with your guild mates to take down a ferocious boss, but more importantly, you can get some amazing loot from this. We're going over every single thing you need to know. It's going to be a very long video. I'll have timestamps down below in the description box for the different topics that we will be covering, so you can navigate to whatever you may be looking for specifically. I'm going to have some Guild Dungeon gameplay running in the background, along with a mixture of some screenshots being put on the screen as I'm talking about the different things that we need to go over. If for whatever reason you have stumbled upon this video and you are brand new to the game and you've never even downloaded it before, I have a special download link in the description box in the pinned comment. I am a part of the creator program, so if you use my link to download the game, it helps me out so much. It is greatly appreciated. All right, so how does the Guild Dungeon work? To enter the Guild Dungeon, your guild must be at least level 4. The Guild Dungeon is also only available 7 days after joining the guild. This was one problem that I had because I joined a brand new guild and I had to wait an entire week. Like a lot of people had joined this guild that is like a sister guild of a main guild, and a lot of us weren't able to go ahead and compete in the Guild Dungeon. We had to wait a week. I know it sounds annoying, but there is a reason behind this. It is because if they didn't have it for the full 7 days, then people could easily abuse the system and jump from guild to guild just participating in the Guild Dungeon. So even though it may seem annoying, there is a reason behind this. So just keep that in mind, that this is definitely needed to have that 7-day cooldown so that people don't abuse this method. The next thing is you can participate in the Guild Dungeon up to 2 times per week. You're actually going to get 2 keys that you will see in the bottom right corner when you are going ahead and entering. My personal suggestion, go ahead and decide as a guild how you're going to do this. So you may want to have everyone use 1 key on one day, and then maybe another day everyone else goes ahead and uses their 2nd key. Or you could just go ahead and have everyone just use both of their keys if they do happen to get destroyed or whatever, and have them back in right away. There's a bunch of different ways that you can go about this, but the most important thing when it comes to the Guild Dungeon is communication and planning. You guys really need to communicate and plan a specific time and just everything, how it's going to go down. If you are in an active guild with really good communication and a really good leader, then this will be a ton of fun. If you're in a bad guild where it's just chaotic and everyone's doing their own thing, there's no structure or anything, you're not going to enjoy this content to its fullest. So I highly recommend you get in a very active and structured guild. The next thing is the minimum participants. So 8 players or more are recommended, and I will say that I would probably recommend more than 8 depending on the combat power for those players. You're going to see in my gameplay that we only had about 8 or 9 people join our Guild Dungeon run, and we were like really struggling very badly. So, you know, it depends on the combat power, but the more people you have participating, the easier it's going to be. You have like what, 40 people, 38 people in your guild. If you can get at least 20 people to participate in this Guild Dungeon, you guys should just breeze right through it. So I would personally recommend, 15 to 20 at the minimum. Even though the game recommends 8, my recommendation is like 15. And the other thing you can do is go ahead and set up parties, Discord chats, whatever it may be, before you go ahead and enter that dungeon. The entry end phase will be reset every 4 UTC plus 0 on Monday, depending on what time it is for you. Basically reset on Monday morning or Monday in the middle of the night, whatever time period it is for you. The Guild Dungeon also has a 15-minute time limit to clear it. So you really do have, a time limit. You can't just go in there and take all day. You really got to bang it out quick. All right, now let's go over some other additional things for the Guild Dungeon. So how to enter it, the lobby introduction, how to play guild dungeon, and acquiring the rewards. We also need to go over the guild auction as well. The guild auction, there is a lot to talk about with that. So first thing, how do you enter the guild dungeon? Well, you're going to go ahead, you're going to click the menu icon in the top right corner. The little like hamburger icon is what some people refer to it as. You're then going to go ahead, click on your guild, and then after you go ahead and click on your guild icon, where it's going to take you to your like guild chat and everything, you're then going to see a tab at the top that's going to say guild dungeon. It's going to look like this. You're going to go ahead and you're going to click where it says guild dungeon. It's then going to take you to the guild dungeon lobby. So we got a bunch of different things we got to go over here. You can see the little boxes and everything. So first one we got is the number 1 box. You can check the remaining HP of the boss, your recommended combat power, your base rewards, and also the guild rewards here. So you can see all that information in that white box number 1. You can also check the entire list of obtainable rewards by clicking the little eye icon in the right corner of the reward list. The second one we got is going to be the number 2 box, and you can see that in the contribution tab you can check the contribution rank of each guild member of the previous and current phases. You can also check the detailed information for the skills that the boss uses in the boss details tab. We'll also go over the boss special abilities later in this video as well. So number 2 is just a good way to kind of get an instance of who's contributing the most. If that's something that your guild is kind of worried about, you can see who has entered the guild and who has not. You know, maybe you want to kick the people who didn't participate, and then you can see a list of all the people who at least participated and tried to, you know, do some type of damage to the guild boss. For our number 3 box, that is going to be our ranking. You can check the rank of each guild, progression, and clearing time. So if you are in competition with another guild, or you just want to see how your guild stacks up against others, you can see how fast other guilds have been able to clear this boss. Next, we got in the bottom right corner is going to be the number 4 box, and this is change ongoing phase. Through the button displayed after resetting the dungeon, you can skip up to 3 phases lower than the highest phase you cleared during the week before the reset. So that kind of helps, you know, speed things along after you've already went ahead and cleared the phase. Important to note that the function is only available to guild leaders and vice guild leaders, so other members will not have access to do that. You can also obtain all of the rewards from the skipped phases if you clear the dungeon after changing the phase. So it just, again, it's a really nice feature that just helps speed it up so it doesn't feel so tedious like you're doing the same thing over and over again. If the dungeon is reset after you didn't clear the phase, that can be reached when changing the phase, then the skippable phase is reduced by 2. And then finally on this, we got number 5 right there. You can see you can enter the dungeon by clicking enter dungeon, and then you enter the dungeon up to 2 times per week. And those right there, you'll see it says 2 out of 2. Those are your keys. So if you go ahead and you enter the dungeon, next time when you are out of the dungeon, it'll say 1 out of 2. So then you'll only have 1 more key to enter. Next, let's go ahead to see what happens when we enter the dungeon. We got a couple screenshots right here. So when you enter the guild dungeon, your entry count is reduced by 1, and you got that 15-minute time limit to destroy the boss. You will be moved outside the dungeon if the time limit is exceeded. So like I said, you just kind of get kicked out, and then you'd have to enter again with another key. You can enter the guild dungeon again if you have a remaining entry, but if you don't, then you're just SOL. You can see the boss monster in front of you when entering the guild dungeon. So you can see this guy right here in the screenshot, but you can also see him in the gameplay as well, where I'm attacking him. And then on the right side, you can see the list of the guild members who are in the dungeon through the currently entered guild members tab, which is in that right corner. You can see that little box icon that's showing all of the members now. Next is clearing the guild dungeon. All right, so you will obtain the rewards when clearing the guild dungeon, and the next phase of the dungeon will be opened where a more powerful boss exists. So after you clear it, you know, you get stronger and stronger and stronger, which, you know, it kind of stacks and tiers up as you clear this boss. And like I said, remember, you can go ahead and you can skip those early phases, so that way you're not doing like the weaker content of the guild dungeon. So if you guys are like 60, level 60, level 65, you're really strong, you know, you don't have to keep doing that first phase where the boss was maybe really easy, so you guys can instantly jump to phase 4 or whatever it may be, the more challenging part of it. Also to note, the dungeon entry is recharged by 1 when you clear the guild dungeon as well. So you can see this screenshot right here. We got dungeon phase 4 cleared. We have a time. You can see the guild XP. We've got a guild coin rewards, our guild dungeon rewards, total attempts, top guild clears, and then some additional information. You can see the drops as well, the guild rewards at the bottom. Next is acquiring rewards. You can see that we just talked about it. You're going to get guild XP, you're going to get guild coins, you're also going to get guild dungeon reward chests, which will be given to all participants when you go ahead and clear the phase of the guild dungeon. Now, the guild rewards obtained from clearing the phase of the guild dungeon will be registered to the guild auction automatically, and you can acquire items through auctions or receive a share of the winning bid through auctions in the guild auction tab. Now what this means is you actually can get diamonds from your other guild members when they go ahead and they buy stuff. This, I think, is one of the best features, and probably my favorite feature about the guild dungeon, is the fact that if you are free to play, maybe you only spend a little bit of money in the game, maybe you don't spend any money in the game, and you just are like, you know, you're struggling to get diamonds. If you're in a pretty good guild and you have someone who has a ton of diamonds, they go ahead and they bid on things. It doesn't just like, the diamonds just don't disappear, right? Instead, like, the guild gets the diamonds, which I thought was really, really awesome. So the diamonds are distributed among your guild members. So it's a really awesome way, you know, as a free to play or a very low spender that doesn't have too many diamonds. It's a great way for you to get diamonds, and just like in general, everyone's happy, everyone wins, right? Like, people are getting good items and you're getting diamonds. So even if you can't get a rare item because you don't have enough diamonds, you'll at least get the diamonds from the person who decide to bid and get the winning bid. All right, let's go over the guild auction next, because this, like I said, was one of my favorite things. The guild auction is a feature where you can distribute the rewards to guild members that can be obtained from defeating the guild boss, the domain ruler, or bosses of elite dungeons. A guild member who bidded the highest price can win the item, and then the guild members who have contributed by participating in the guild dungeon or raid members will be shareholders. Like I said, you don't even need to, like, you know, if you can't bid on anything, it's okay, because you're gonna get diamonds from it anyway. So there's really no reason for you not to participate. So we got a couple things to go over: how to start and bid in the guild auction, the end of auction, and the retrieval, and finally the winning and distribution. So we got another screenshot with some boxes to go over. So number 1 box, you can see right here, how to start and bid in the auction. So guild rewards from defeating the boss in the guild dungeon or acquired from defeating a raid boss are going to be registered to the guild auction. To enter the guild auction, you got to click where it says guild auction while you're in the guild area tab in the upper right corner of the guild screen. And we can see number 1 is going to be our shareholder. You can check the shareholders and expected distribution by clicking the magnifying glass button. So if you're wondering, you know, who's going to be getting diamonds from those bids, that is where you're going to click right there, that number 1 box. From there, we got number 2 box, and this is going to be the bid. The bid, you have to spend more diamonds than currently bidded. You can freely rebid, however, you can't bid again when you are the highest bidder. If you didn't win the item, the diamonds can be retrieved. Next one we got is going to be the number 3 box right there. We have the select item. Guild leader or vice guild leader can set targeted bidder or bid amount. The next one we got is going to be our number 4 box. And this is where we can go ahead and start the auction. To start the bidding, the guild leader or vice leader has to start the auction. They have to physically go ahead and click the button. Next one we got is going to be number 5 box at bottom right corner. Start quick auction. You can start the auction of whole or certain items that are registered in the guild auction. Very important to note, to participate the bidding, you have to spend at least 1 hour after joining the guild. So very, very important. So you can kind of like jump around to other guilds and bid on stuff, but because you didn't participate in the actual guild dungeon, you won't be able to be a shareholder, so you won't be able to get those diamonds. So next we got our screenshot of the bidding going on. You can set the target of the bidder and the amount by clicking the select item button. You can see right there in the screenshots. When the auction starts, the background color of the item section will change. Screenshot right here, you can see we got some bidding going on for some items. Next we got is the end of auction and retrieval. So we got 2 things right here. Number 1, we got complete auction. After the auction period, the bid item is displayed as auction complete, and the final bid amount and the highest bidder will be displayed. So you can see all of that information in that number 1 box right there. Then we have the number 2 box, which says retrieve. Guild leaders can retrieve the expired items. Then we have the number 3 one in that bottom corner right there, bottom right corner. We've got bid, refund, claim. So if there's any guild members who bid at a higher amount than yours, this is where you can go ahead and retrieve the bidded amount of diamonds that you can get back. And then right next to that, we have the number 4 box, and that is going to be the retrieve all. Guild leaders can retrieve all of the expired items. Moving along, we got winning and distribution. All of the winning items and bids will be sent via your inbox. The winning bid will be divided by the number of shareholders after subtracting the auction fee and sent to the inbox of the shareholders. So we can see right now we are in an inbox. We've got our guild auction and we can see the different items that were bid and won. And you can see that it never expires, and we can go ahead and click the claim icon. Take a look at the boss details, specifically the abilities the boss has. A bunch of different ones going on. We got cracking earth, ice rain, lightning bolt, elemental blast, and finally end time. The boss, you're going to notice in the gameplay earlier, there's these like totem poles, these poles that appear, and each one is going to be a different color. So there's like a blue one, a green one, I think there's like a red one too. You gotta like destroy those in order to like stop the boss from just using these crazy abilities. So really, really important to note that. You know, if you're strong enough, if you have enough people, you may not even have to worry about those poles. You could just constantly focus all your attacks on the boss if you can go ahead and you know, just destroy him. But some of these attacks are pretty devastating. We got cracking earth, borrows the power of fire from the forbidden tome and stomps his feet to spread the flames, deals fire damage to nearby enemies. So that is from, I believe, the fire, the red totem pole. Then we have the ice rain, borrows the power of ice from the forbidden tome and summons a rain of ice, deals damage over time to enemies within range and inflicts frostbite onto them. So you really gotta like pick your poison of which one you want to destroy and which one you don't want the boss to do. Then we got lightning bolt, borrows the power of lightning and launches a massive lightning strike to its surroundings. Being struck by lightning inflicts massive damage and stuns you. I would honestly suggest that the lightning one would be the one that I take out. You know, the red and this other one, the ice one, are pretty bad, but the lightning one I think is by far the worst because it does the most damage and it stuns you. I mean, even for nothing else, the stun, right? The fact that it stuns you is just really devastating, and you don't want that to happen. Especially because there's going to be other monsters that are running in around. It's not just like a single boss battle. There's other monsters in this guild dungeon with you, and they can also really wreak havoc and like absolutely destroy your team. Then we got elemental blast, concentrates his mana and releases a straight beam of powerful mana blast. There's really nothing you can do about that. That's just kind of like a regular attack. And then we have End Time, chants the last page of the Forbidden Tome and summons poisonous meteoroids. A shower of poisonous blobs rain down briefly, dealing poison damage to those within range. Like I said, I believe that the Lightning Bolt Man is the worst one. That is definitely the most devastating. All right, my friends, we are going to go ahead. We are going to jump into some commentary for our first guild dungeon. I'm going to walk you through everything that we were doing as a guild. Now, this was our very first time doing the guild dungeon, so we made some mistakes. We didn't have a lot of people on. We're going to talk about all that stuff and kind of, you know, help you so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did, or at least just in general, you have a better experience. So you can see we got a bunch of people already in there. We're all trying to gather up guild members to jump in. And like I said earlier in the video, I would definitely recommend, you know, as many people as you can. Like 15 would be a really good number, you know, 20, 25 would be amazing. But for us, we only had, you know, not too many. We had like 8 people, really, not that a lot. So we're going ahead and we got a bunch of these like little minions that are like around first. And then we're jumping into a party right here. I had a party invite. So that's another thing is I suggest you party up as well, you know, so you can help each other out with buffs and healing. If you do have a healer on your team, that can definitely help out as well. So party up with a healer or something like that. So this is the boss guy right there. You can see him right now. We are just attacking him, trying to do as much damage as we can. And there goes his very first skill. And he does a ton of damage. So you got to really be careful as a melee damage dealer, whether you're a berserker or a defender. Unfortunately, like pretty much all of his, you know, big attacks are a pretty big circle around him. Now, as a ranged damage dealer, you can kind of get away with keeping your distance and really avoiding that like circle, that danger area where he does his abilities. So right there, that was that stun ability that we talked about earlier. That one is so devastating because it really just completely incapacitates your hero, and it just is not a good time for anyone, because then you could also have the minions coming and jumping you as well. So you can see that there are some minions over there right like ahead of my camera right there. So it's starting to get a little bit hectic. We also just got slowed as well, but like it's really brutal for me because I'm a berserker class. I think I was level 49 when I did this. My character isn't like the strongest, and it was really difficult for me to be in that front line because I was constantly, you know, get hit with all his like super abilities, and they're so devastating. They do so much damage. So if you can have like a really good defender, a really good tank to draw the aggro, I would definitely suggest that. So, you know, if you do have a couple of them, but you can see, you know, those range damage dealers right there, they're very like, they're back far enough that they can just completely avoid that circle, right? They can take like one step away and they can avoid it. But you can see I'm trying to avoid it as a berserker, but unfortunately it's like you got to tank it, right? Like if you're a melee damage dealer, you're just kind of in too deep and you got to tank the hits, which is really unfortunate. But if you are a range damage dealer, you can avoid pretty much most of the attacks. That would be something that you really gotta, you know, just be careful about. I honestly wish they had a dodge button in this game, especially for melee damage dealers. Like we need to have a button that lets us like dodge, like at least have our character dive out of the way, so it at least gives us a chance to kind of dodge those melee, you know, special abilities, because you really can't, like they're too wide. So like unless you're like, you know, right there in that instance I was kind of able to because I was behind him, but you know, for the most part when they are in that like circle area, you can't avoid it. You're kind of just like screwed, right? So, you know, you got to be careful with that. Right now, we're still doing a bunch of damage. You can see his health bar right now. He still has a lot of health left. So it is a bit tedious to go ahead and destroy him. You can see that fire totem. See the totems that are around that I was talking about earlier? those are the totems that he generates his power from that allows him to do those like special attacks. So there was that fire one, which we went over earlier. And then there's that blue one. I think the blue one is the ice one, or is it the lightning one? I'm not quite sure which one's which, but there's three. The red one is definitely fire. I think the blue one is the ice, and I'm not sure, but I think that green one that my team is attacking at the top. See, my team is kind of like attacking it right there. They're all attacking that pole. I think that one that they just destroyed is the one that goes ahead and does the stun. There's another pole right there, but that's kind of like, you know, what you got to do, because those poles, they're really, really high HP. Like the HP on them is ridiculous. So like as a whole guild, you got to have everyone like focus fire on those like totem poles and destroy them. So like I was saying earlier, it's very important to have communication. If you can, have everyone who's participating in a Discord chat or something, you know, voice chat, and you need to have somebody directing everyone. Like, hey, we got to attack this totem pole, and everyone focuses fire on this pole and then focus fire on the boss. That is like the biggest tip I can have for you is coordination. Coordination is so important with this guild dungeon. And you can see right now, my team, my guild, first time doing it, not a lot of people, was very uncoordinated. Everyone's kind of running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing because I don't have any direction. No one's telling me what to do. So I'm kind of running around just attacking the boss, trying to figure things out on my own. And it was kind of a mess for us. Our very first time, it was an absolute mess. Hopefully the second time we do this, it'll be a lot better. I'm hoping. The first time we weren't even able to destroy the first phase. So we didn't even destroy the first phase boss. So we didn't even get to do the guild auction or anything like that. So we really, really unfortunately missed out. And right now I'm just going ahead and I'm just trying to do as much damage right now as I can to the boss. And then my team is also kind of attacking the boss as well. But again, those attacks right there, they're so wide. I have no way to avoid them. That one I could avoid at least because I was already starting to run back. That fire, man, that fire does like burn damage over time, which really, really hurts. You can see right there again at the top, my guild members, they're kind of, some of them are focusing fire on the fire totem pole, the red one, so that way we could stop him from using that ability. So that is the most important thing I would say. My number one tip, focus fire on those poles to destroy them, and then focus on the boss. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really tough. Again, you can see the team again at the top. They're trying to take down the next pole over there. And then there are all those little minions. You see all these little random like minion monsters. You got to be careful because those start to get overwhelming as well. If you don't kind of deal with them, you know, a lot of those just kind of creep up on you. And then before you know it, you got like 5 of them smashing your character, and you're just taking a ton of damage. Right now you can see I'm like attacking this blue one, and I wanted to show off the HP. See the HP for this? I mean, the HP for these poles is really, really tough, right? Like they're really, really strong. You need to have a whole bunch of your entire guild like focus firing to destroy it, because one person, you can see one person is just doing barely any damage, right? Unless you're like a big whale player who's a big damage dealer, you might be able to solo it, but you really need like a bunch of people attacking it at once. So after that, things kind of start to go downhill. I'm looking in the chat trying to see what people are saying, and really it's just kind of chaotic right now. And unfortunately my character ends up getting destroyed, and then I go ahead and I end up using my second key to rejoin to see if I can help out. But then again, I died. My character ends up getting destroyed again fairly quickly. I've got, you know, these minions start chasing me right there, and I didn't have a chance. I unfortunately didn't have a chance. That is it. That is everything you need to know about the brand new content for Odin Valhalla Rising, the Guild Dungeon. If you have not already, download the game using my link down below in the description box, and pinned comment is greatly appreciated. And I will see you guys and girls later with some more Odin Valhalla Rising content. Stay happy, stay safe. Peace.